For our next fight, we go back to the middleweight division. For our official ring introductions, we will send it inside the ropes momentarily to Jamie Beliveau.
Ladies and gentlemen, inside the Fox Theater, this is the next bout. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, representing Coon Dog Boxing, hailing from Meriden, Connecticut, introducing Jonathan Figueroa. And his opponent across the ring, fighting out of the red corner, representing the Elephant in the Room Boxing Club, hailing from New Haven, Connecticut, introducing Godfrey Campbell.
We go to the middleweight division for our next fight of the evening. An interstate battle between Connecticut residents Godfrey Campbell from New Haven taking on Jonathan Figueroa of Meriden. Godfrey Campbell wearing the black trunks with the white trim. Figueroa is wearing the solid black trunks. Figueroa also wearing a white top, whereas Campbell is wearing a red top. That is how we'll differentiate the two competitors. Godfrey Campbell comes to us from the Elephant in the Room Boxing Club. Figueroa from Coon Dog Boxing. The Elephant in the Room Boxing Club has a professional fighter on the card later tonight in heavyweight Solomon May, who takes on Dorchester, Massachusetts, Donnie Palmer. Not so familiar with the Coon Dog Boxing Gym in Meriden, Connecticut, so we'll see what these competitors have to offer. Ooh. Peter Zimbo and Rich Cappiello here calling the action.
Once again, Pete, these kids are really poised, as you can see. You can see the experience level of both of these guys. They really conduct themselves well in the ring. Good offense, good D. I'd like to see them be a little busier. I kind of hate in these amateurs, they're only 3 rounds. I hate when a fighter comes out and tries to feel a guy out in that first round. Like when you get 3-round fights as an amateur, you got to punch and you got to get that first round. Yeah, I believe that you got to get busy that first round.
It appears that both fighters are taking their time to some degree in the opening round of the scheduled 3-round contest.
In the
132-pound fights we had most recently, you had a lot of young kids who legitimately were still technically children coming up, or maybe just in early adulthood. Here with Figueroa and Campbell, we're seeing not only larger competitors in terms of weight, but they seem to have a more mature physical build to them as well. They seem to have more man strength.
Yeah, well, I don't think these kids, the last fight we saw, I think those kids were a little bit younger. I think these kids here got to be, you know, maybe early 20s to mid-20s.
Saw some nice right hands courtesy of Godfrey Campbell moments ago. Now Figueroa is tying up. Referee is letting them fight out of the predicament. And it was Godfrey Campbell with Figueroa in the corner before Figueroa gets himself out of there. Final seconds of this round one. Nice right hand courtesy of Godfrey Campbell. And I think he caught Figueroa as he was dipping low. And it almost caused him to go to the canvas with his knee almost touching.
I'll tell you what I see with Figueroa right now is he's in the southpaw position, but he's squaring up, and that's why he's getting caught with that straight right hand. You know, he should be moving away from the power, which is going to the opposite side, which would be moving to his right. And he isn't. He's actually standing in front of this guy, and he's literally walking into his right hand. as a southpaw. You know, sort of. And when I say squaring up, he's not like he's giving his whole, he's committing his whole body, leaving himself open.
Round 2 of the scheduled 3-rounder between Godfrey Campbell and Jonathan Figueroa. Still to come, another fighter from Connecticut with the last name Figueroa. Elvis Figueroa will be taking on Worcester, Massachusetts' Bobby Harris. Still to come here on the CES card from Foxwoods Resort Casino, the Connecticut Classic.
Is that the son of Bobby Harris? Is it really, huh?
It is the son of Bobby Harris, who I believe will be in his corner tonight. That'll be an interesting sight to see.
I wonder how many fights he has. I haven't seen him yet, but, you know, Bobby Harris has obviously been around the game for many years and had a nice little career for himself back in the, I believe in the 80s, right?
Early to mid-90s.
What was it that late? Yeah.
His amateur days were in the late 80s, and he had a substantial amateur career, which I'm sure we'll talk about in abundance during that fight. Right now, however, it's all about Godfrey Campbell and Jonathan Figueroa.
He changed right-handed now, see? And he's being much more effective. You know, like I mentioned in that last fight, you had that, one of the kids there was switching up, and he did very well doing it. If you don't know what you're doing, switching up like that can really get you in a lot of trouble. Like, I feel as though when he earlier was fighting in this fight, in that southpaw position, squaring himself up, he was actually just walking straight into right hands, where right now, fighting, you know, right-handed, he's much more effective. You can see he's more comfortable. He's moving his head a little bit better. You know, I would suggest as a trainer to keep him at right-handed right now. See how he's switching up? It's just sort of like, he's really not comfortable. He's just sort of turning himself around. He's getting himself in a lot of trouble, Pete.
Hasn't quite found a smooth transition yet.
No. I almost think he just doesn't know he's doing it. Cause see, watch him, Pete. Stays right-handed, he'll throw a punch, and then he'll just sort of just stand the opposite way. There's no transaction there. Oh. Oh, nice.
Nice right hand by Figueroa. And he staggers towards the closing moments of round number 2.
Nice.
A good closing 30 seconds for Jonathan Figueroa over Godfrey Campbell here at the Fox Theater at Foxwoods in round number 2. And the tide was turned towards the closing 30 seconds of that fight, or of that round rather. And I noticed this earlier, Rich, in an amateur bout, and I'm noticing it now. Godfrey Campbell with his arms rested on the ropes like he's lounging on a lounge chair in the corner. I was always taught never to do that. You want your arms at your side with the blood flowing downward, but we're seeing it for the second time tonight.
Well, I don't know. Different trainers have different methods. I actually do think that's effective because you're literally resting the arms, and what you're doing is you're taking all the weight of the glove off of. When you hang your arms, Pete, especially with as an amateur, you got heavier gloves. It's still wearing down in the arms. When you hang them, it's sort of taking that weight off your arms for that minute break.
Third and final round between Godfrey Campbell and Jonathan Figueroa. In our second to last amateur bout of the evening here at the Fox Theater at Fox Resorts Casino. Peter Zimbo and Rich Cappiello ringside calling the action. The Fox Theater here at Foxwoods, one of the most intimate and best venues around to watch boxing. I think, in the entire New England region, because there literally is not a bad seat in the house.
Pete, by far, I'm a big fan of this room, the Fox Theater. They moved to the big room at the MGM. Holds a lot more people, but it doesn't create that atmosphere like this place. Like, I actually, it's one of my favorite venues, and I think I'm happy to see Fox was bringing this back, and I hope they stay consistent with it, because, you know, for smaller shows with under 2,000 people, it's perfect. They're in a bad seat in this venue.
One of my favorite fights I've ever seen in this venue was a fight on a CES promoted card, and you had something to do with putting this fight together. It was an ESPN main event between Hammer and Hank Lundy and Patrick Lopez, who is a former Venezuelan Olympian. And Hank Lundy had to gut that win out in the 10th round, and boy, did he.
That was a great fight. A lot of great fights here over the years. Great fights. And I think this was a very smart move by Foxwoods Casino, keeping this venue open.
Some boxing insiders have said that the best fight which ever took place here was never broadcast, as Jonathan Figueroa doing some good work over Godfrey Campbell here in round 3. And that fight would be a non-televised bout at the beginning of the millennium between Willie Gibbs and Leonard Pierre.
Yes. Amazing. Willie knocked him out in the last round with 15 seconds left.
Trailing on all 3 scorecards.
Yes, to win the USBA title and knocked him out cold. It was amazing. I literally leaped in the ring. And honestly, it was I don't even have a copy of the tape that was supposed to be televised. Wow, what a nice right hand. Some power there. Turning in, really shaping up to a good fight here, Pete. Tied now, Pete.
Just 27 more seconds of boxing left between Godfrey Campbell and Jonathan Figueroa.
No knockdowns and no stoppages tonight.
Very evenly matched competitive amateur bouts thus far. Good fight between Godfrey Campbell and Jonathan Figueroa as the crowd responds in kind here at the Fox Theater, as you see folks high-fiving in the rafters and whistling as they're excited by the action they just saw. Well, Rich, as was the case in the previous bout, that is going to be a difficult fight to score round by round because both fighters had their moments.
Absolutely, Pete.
Well, we were talking about the Bobby Harris-Alves Figueroa fight earlier on. Rich, that bout has been scratched, so this fight between Godfrey Campbell and Jonathan Figueroa turns out will be the final amateur contest of the evening before we enter the professional portion of the card. How did this fight end? We will go to the official judges' scorecards to our ring announcer, Jamie Beliveau.
Ladies and gentlemen inside the Fox Theater, can we have a round of applause for these two young, up-and-coming competitors? We go to the scorecards. Your winner, out of the blue corner, Jonathan Figueroa.
Your winner via decision, Meriden, Connecticut's Jonathan Figueroa defeats New Haven's Godfrey Campbell.